Namaste everyone. Good to see you after a long time. Had to stop the YouTube video because I had got some health problems. So today we are back with a new video where we'll be talking about the form. Whenever we have to send data to the backend server, then we need to submit a form. Just for example, if we need to register something, or register a person, or register a user, you might have seen that thing in different kind of websites where you have to register a user. So at the time we have to submit the data by entering all those data like our name, like our phone number, or email, or password into a form, and then we need to submit that. So today we are going to talk about that thing, how we are going to create that. So without doing any kind of delay, so let's talk about those things. I have got my screen shared where you can see that we have got a text editor open, VS Code, where we'll be writing the code. So first we'll start with the basic structure of HTML. So we need an HTML tag with a head, and inside head we need a title, where inside the title we'll be writing form tag, and then we need a body, and whatever visible part that will be seen in a website, we are going to write down that thing inside the body. So for creating the form, let's directly talk about that. So for creating the form, we need the form tag, right? This is the thing that we need while creating form. So in form tag, we have a different kind of attribute. We have been talking about the attribute right from the beginning. Like we have talked about different kind of tags and the attribute which helps to make that tag more powerful. Same like that, form tag also have got some attribute. Like the first one, by default we have got action attribute over here. So action attribute will help to submit our form to different URL. Just for example, if we want to submit our form like our name, our phone number to some URL like some API, like let us say submit data, so we can submit like this. So we can simply give the URL of that location where we have got code to submit the data, where we have got the code where it will link with the database and it will do some processing before sending some data to database. So that URL is written inside the action attribute. And same like that, inside form tag we'll have got another attribute called as method. So it basically have got the type of method that could be used to submit the form. So we'll have got get and post method. We'll study about this get and post method while we're reading about JavaScript. So that's the best time when we shall have to study what get and post requests are. So same like that, inside the form tag we have got things like enctype. Inside the enctype, it will help to decode our information into different kind of forms. For example, it is basically used whenever you have to upload an image in a form. Just for example, you have to upload profile picture. So in that case, you will have to encode the data. Means the image is not an ordinary data. You know about that. So let me toggle this first. So image is not an ordinary data. That is, whenever we have to send that image to the server, then that image has to be converted into some understandable form which can be understood by our channel. So if we don't know what channel means, then channel is a path from where we send the data. Like whenever we are sending the data, we send data through wireless medium or wired medium. That wireless or wired medium, that is called as the channel over here. And while sending through that channel, we need to encode that image into different formats so that it could be sent easily through that channel. So that's where enctype comes over. And for sending the image, we write the value as multipart slash form data. Now same like that, whenever we will enter something in form, you might have seen that that form will have got a feature called as autocomplete. It means whenever you type something, like if I will type MA, then it will automatically display my name, MANOJ, if you have already written that name in that form. So those already written data will be shown automatically to you, and that can be turned off if you want. So with the help of autocomplete attribute, so we'll just write autocomplete and with the value of. And same like that, if you will submit the form, so there is a default behavior of the form. That is, whenever you will submit a form, as for example, if you have got an input type like email, just say you have created a box where you will type email, then whenever you will send that data to the server, it will automatically validate that part. That is, it will automatically try to know whether that enter data is email or not. So you can turn that off with the help of no validated attribute. So if you have got this attribute in your form tag, then if you have got any kind of default validation inside the form like email, like password, and same like that, if you have got other things, then it won't get validated, and without any validation that data can be sent to the server. So this could be useful sometime whenever you don't want the email to be validated in the client side and you want that email to be validated in the server side. So that's all. For now, I'll remove this no validated attribute, and same like that, autocomplete will be off for now, and others I'll leave it as it is. So first, whenever we have to create a form, we need a label. Just for example, you might have seen that whenever you will enter something in a form, then just in front of that box or just above the box, there will be a label. Like if you are entering your first name, just in front of that box or above that box, there will be a label called as first name, means a text which will help us to know what that box is about, like what kind of data should we enter into that box. So that should be written inside the label tag. So our form has a label tag, so we'll talk about the for attribute here. So first name. Now same like that, if you want to enter data, like if you want to enter text in the form, then you have got attribute called as input. So with the attribute, so you have got a tag called as input with the attribute type, and inside that type you have to enter the value text. So this input tag will help to enter the text in our form. Like if you want to, just for example, if you want to enter the last name, let us say, so last name, then you need to just simply write the label and then just write down the input tag with the type attribute and having the value text. So in label for first name type text, so you can see over here. Now what does this for attribute mean then? So why do we use that? So our input tag and any other kind of tag in our form that takes the value and that sends the value to the server come up with an attribute called as name. Just for example, if you have got name over here called as first name, then this first name, this label is targeting this input, right? That's the thing what we are doing over here. So inside the for attribute, you need to write down first name over here. So this means that this label, whatever you are writing over here, this belong to this input tag. That's what it means, nothing else. Okay, same like that over here also. So for, you can write down last name, and inside that input we will insert an attribute called as name, and that name will be last name. So that's how you write down the first and last name. Now suppose if you want to if you want the user to enter number one, it means you want to take number one, you don't want the user to enter any kind of the value or the text, just pure number only, like phone number or any kind of other number like age, then there is an tag for that one. There is an attribute for that one similar to this text. So before that, we'll run this in live server and see what it looks like, and then after that we'll get started with these numbers. So as you can see here, we have got first name and last name, and we could type here text, so Manoj, and last name Shrestha. So that's what we can do with input type text. Now we want a box like this where we can insert or where you can enter the number. So how to do that thing then? So I'll write down here label, and label for it will be age. So we are going to ask age. So age, and then input with type is equal to number. So that's what you have to do over here. So if you write an input type is equal to number, then you are allowed to enter number only. So as you can see over here, we have put age, and here we have put box beside that age. Now I cannot enter any kind of text over there. You could try from your keyboard also by writing this code. You will see that we are allowed to enter the numbers only. and but we were allowed to enter the text called as E. So basically, why we're allowed to enter the text called as E? Because this E is also a part of mathematical symbols or mathematical expressions. So that's why we're allowed to use the E. Yeah, so E basically stands for exponential, where you will see this thing while you are reading about the logarithmic functions or logs. You might have heard about log. So whenever you are reading that, you will see this E over there. So this is also a part of math. So that's why you are able to see that we are able to type this E along with those other numbers. Now same like number. Now what if you want to enter the password then? So you will see that we have got a different characteristics of password. We have got different feature for password. That is, whenever we enter something, then that thing must not have to be visible. That's what password is. So if you want to create such kind of box, then simply we can use the same attribute, sorry, same tag called as input tag. But for that, we'll create a label, and in that label, we'll write down password, and just below that, we'll create input type attribute with the value called password. So if you write down input type is equal to password, you will get to see that we'll get a box. So you can see that just beside the password, we have got a box similar to that of type is equal to text. But this box is a little bit different. You are allowed to type some text over here, but that text won't be visible. So you will see that there are just some random symbols only instead of this text, but it is accepting the text which I'm entering from the keyboard while it is not visible. So that's what it is doing over here. So input type is equal to password. Now same like that, just for example, if you want to accept data I guess. So just for example, there will be form where you will be told to enter the data part or any kind of date. It could be any kind of thing like date of inquiry or some date of appointment or any kind of thing. So you could create that thing with the help of input type date. So if you write down that, so simply you can see that we can enter the date now. So we can enter the English date only, but we don't have got something like Nepali date. So in our HTML, we have to hard code so that we could convert this into Nepali date. That's what we have to do. So date of birth. Now similarly, you could also do something like date time also. If you do that, you will see that we'll have got date time both. Where do we have got that thing? Date time. Look, so we can enter the date also while we can enter the time also. That's what we can do with date time local. We can, if we need this date and time at the same time, then we need to use this input with the type attribute and value date time local. While if you want to let us say store picture, or if you want to accept file, if you want the user to upload file into your form, then we have got a special kind of attribute over there. Not special, let us not say special, the same attribute called as type, but we need to write file. So if you write down input type is equal to file, then you are allowed to enter, or you are allowed to upload file over here. So as you can see over here, we have got icon, or let us see a symbol over here, choose file. If you click on that, it will tell us to upload the file. But we were allowed to upload image also. If you will go that, we are allowed to upload the Excel file also. But we need a specific type of file only. That is, in profile picture, you will see that we should be allowed to upload the image only. That's what we need to do. So we can let this form or this input type file to accept certain type of file only. So for example, if I write down accept is equal to PDF, then you could see that we will be allowed to upload PDF only. Like if I am wrong, then dot PDF might be there. So choose file. Okay, yes, look. So we are allowed to upload PDF only. We cannot upload any other type of file. Like you can see the PDF. There used to be other type of file also over here, but we cannot view that thing because this only accepts PDF file only. Same like that, if you want to accept the image only, then you can write down here .jpeg or .png. So if you write down like that, then you will be allowed to upload those kind of file only. So that's what you have to do. Now let us remove this and just move to another one. So this has been a long video, but please stick with this. So you will learn a lot of things about the form tag in this video. So same like that, in form tag, we have got another level. Let us say we have got another tag called as select tag also. So you might have seen that in different kind of form, you are able to choose between different kind of options. Like you will simply click on something, and after clicking on that thing, you will get a drop down menu where from that menu you could choose some items. So how to make that thing, we are going to see that thing. So we are going to make it for gender, like we are going to choose gender from the list, male, female or others. So label, and we'll have got select tag over here. That's what we are going to use to make that list drop down menu. So we'll have a select tag with the attribute called as name. We don't have got any kind of attribute like type over here, just simply name only. Why do you have got name? Because this label will target this name over here. That's why we are writing this attribute compulsorily. So select tag, and with this tag we need option tag also. So option with the value attribute. So we'll talk about that, what does value attribute do also, but before that let us simply create that list only. So select a gender. After that we need another gender called as male. So male, then female, then others. So if you will write down like this, you can see that we have got select tag, and inside the select tag we have got option tag. So that's what it is. That's what we're writing over here. And inside that option tag, we're writing some random, let us not say random, we are writing some text over here. So if you will go to the web page and see that, you could see that we have got a drop down menu. So the first one, the first option, look, we have select a gender. So select a gender over here. We have got male, the second option. Second option is male. Third option, female. Fourth option, others. As you have seen over here. But what is this value carried in? So this value simply means like whenever we are selecting male. So, but this is just an ordinary text only. Okay? Whatever you are seeing in this screen, this is just ordinary text only. But while we are clicking in this text called as male, now what kind of value should be submitted to the server then? What kind of value should be sent to the server then? So that value is written inside the value attribute. So value is equal to male, you write down a value is equal to female, you write down value is equal to others. Now that is, if you have selected male, then while you have submitted the form, that form will send this value to the server. So in this way, you could make it easier for the server to understand different kind of things. Like you could have got a huge letter or huge word over there that it's very tedious to send into the server. That kind of value is very hard to be sent to the server. So in that case, you could write down the value over here. Just for example, if you have got country name, like if you have got India, so instead of sending India to the server, just while we're showing the user in the form, then we could show India only. But while we're sending the actual data to the server, then we can send it as IN only. If we talk about Nepal, while we are displaying the value, we can display it as Nepal so that users will understand. But while we are storing in server, we will store it like any only. So this is what value attribute is used for. I hope you understand about this select and value attribute also. So after this, we'll talk about another thing also. So suppose if you want to write down a huge description, a long paragraph, so for example, let's say if you want to write down a bio. So whenever you are writing the bio, then you need a long, big box where you can write down a lot of word over there, a lot of, let us say, a paragraph over there. So in that case, we can write down description like this also. Let me write down the label. So label for description. So after that, we have got an attribute, we have got a tag for that one, HTML tag called as text area. So text area, obviously the name is description. We have to write down the same thing that we have got in label. So the value which is written in label for attribute, that value must be inside the text area with name attribute. So let us remove this id. Now if you will write down just text area only, if you will use this tag, you could see that you are able to write down a long paragraph, and you are able to resize this box also. You are able to write down a huge amount of value over there. So you can change that thing also. You can see that by default we have got this number of, let us say, 2 row and just something like 10 11 column, but you will control that thing with the help of rows and column attribute. So rows is equal to, if I write down 10, then you will see that we'll have got 10 row over here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So that's what it is. And if you will write down here column, so for writing the number of column, we have got COLS calls attribute. So calls is equal to 30. So you will have got 30 column over here. That is 1 2 3 4 like this. You will be able to write down 30 letter in one line. You will see that we can control that thing with the help of this attribute. Now after we have done about this text area tag, then let us see how we create the button then. Obviously our form will have got button, so we'll create button over here. We don't need label for that one. Do we need label for button? No, we don't need that thing. So button, simply we have got button tag, and I will write down here a click me. So if you will simply write down that thing, you will see that we have got a click me button. And this click button will by default have got a submit behavior, right? Like the button with type submit, you can see that. So click me, it will submit that data. You will see that now. You will see that thing. So we have used the URL API submit data.php. If you have forgotten that, I will just scroll this part and you will see that in action attribute we have got the same URL which is shown over here. Now, why is it showing that thing? Because while I'm clicking on that click me button, it is trying to submit those form data into this URL. That's why it is showing this thing. But as it is not present now, so that's why it is showing cannot get API submit data.php. And same like that, why it is showing cannot get, because you will see that we have got method called as post, sorry, get. That's why it is showing that message over there. So after we have done this thing, we will have got another button also. Like let me write down here submit button instead of writing this, and we'll create another kind of button. So that button will be reset button. So what is the reset button then do then? So we have got a button over here. You will see that reset button. So if I will write down something over this form, then if I will click on reset, then everything on that form will disappear. Means every value on that form will be removed. That's what the reset button do. Well, we could create this submit button by another way also. Simply, you could write input type is equal to submit, and hence our submit button is created. But instead of having this button starting and the ending tag, and in between those tag we'll write down the value, the text. Instead of that, we'll write down that value inside the value attribute. That's what we'll do while creating through the input tag. So these two button are same. These two button does the same thing. You will see that the first button also submit the data, the second button also submit the data. So these are all the things. Now after we have created buttons, then we have got more things to do. Like we can create some checkbox also. Like whenever you are talking about the form, we'll have got checkbox over there. So label for, and for checkbox we'll talk about the, let us say, favorite subject. So subject, we'll ask choose favorite subject. Now a student can have got more than one favorite subject. What is spelling? So favorite subjects. So we will let the student to choose more than one subject over there. So how we are doing that thing then? So simply we'll write on input type is checkbox. So input type checkbox. So inside that name, obviously the same thing, subject and ID. Let us leave that simple. Leave that. And we have to write down the text over here. Like what kind of subject might be there? Science. Let us quickly make a checkbox, science, then Nepali, then another will be math. Let's not forget our subject, computer science, sorry, computer science. Then next one will be math, OPT, math. So these are the few subjects. So you can see that we have got a series of list over here, checkbox. Now you are able to choose between those options. So that's what you can do with the help of input type checkbox. The same like that, you will see that in this checkbox we are able to choose different kind of value, means we are able to choose more than one value, but there might come situation where we should be able to choose only one value from the list. So that's where another thing will come, that is called as the radio button. So level for, again this I'll write on gender. So gender, and input type will be radio button. So input type radio with the help of gender. So first will be male, second one will be female, third one will be others. So we have got male, female and others, and you will see that we're able to choose more than one value from checkbox. But if we talk about this radio button, then we're able to choose only one value from this radio button. Why? But if you will make that name differently, okay, these three, male, female and others, these three lists have got same name, so we are able to choose only one value from that list. But if I will just make one different, like the name for this female is gender one, then we will be able to choose more than one value also. Like I am able to choose male also, but if I will click on others, then simply that selected value from male will disappear, because this male and others have got the same name. You will see there, this male have got the name called gender, and this others also have got the name called gender, but this female have got different, right? So if you will choose the female, then then you can see that we're able to choose more than one value. So that's how checkbox and radio works. So you can see the difference also how it works. Now same like that, if we talk about other thing also, we have got input type color also, where we are able to choose different kind of colors from the list, and we're able to send that to the server. Then we haven't talked about email. So what if you want to accept email then? So if you want to accept email, so you will have got input tag with the email attribute. So input type email. So if you write down like this, then you will see that when we will try to submit the data, so where is that email? Okay, here you can see that we have got symbol also over here. And when I'm clicking in this email, you will see that we have been solicited a series of email. Why? Because this input box will accept email only. So if you have got such kind of situation where you want to accept email only, you could write input type is equal to email. So that's what you have to do. Then similarly, we need to talk about the thing also maybe. input type feed and image, month, number, pass range. So if you want to enter range also, you have got input type range. You will see that we can enter different kind of range. This range belongs from or starts from 0 to 100. So if you want to choose value from 0 to 100, you could write input, you could use input type is equal to range. Now next thing what I haven't told. So there is some attribute over here which will help to make our form look more powerful. So just for example, whenever we are entering some data into the form, we don't want some data to be left over. Means whenever we are entering data and sending the data to the server, then there will be some boxes or some data which will be mandatory. Means which will be required. So for that one we have got attribute called as required attribute. So if you will just add that, sorry, not in label, if you will add that attribute in input tag or any kind of other tag like select tag or text area tag, then you will see that whenever we are submitting data, if that field I'm writing this first name as, or I'm inserting this, I'm keeping the attribute called as required in first name. If I will leave that empty, like and try to submit, you will see that it is giving an message over here, please fill out this form. But if I will fill that but leave other empty, right, others do not have got that required attribute. Now if I will simply submit that form, then it will get submitted. Why? Because we have just kept required attribute in first name only, while in others it's not mandatory. We haven't used the required attribute, so without entering the data also we can easily submit the data and send it to the server. So that's what you need to know about the form tag. Hope you all understand about the different kind of tag which can be used in the form tag. So this much for today. Thank you.